What is going on, everybody? It is Dylan with Astrodfs, and in today's video, going over Week 10's cash plays. So this is just, where the ownership is probably going to lean towards some of my likes as well, and just kind of combining them. And then we will do a lineup. I'll just give an example lineup off the top of the head, just going over some of the plays that I like. So quarterback, there's a small pool, and we'll see what it looks like come Sunday. But Josh Allen, number one. And when I say number one, I just mean he's not by far the best play, and I'm not saying he isn't. But for the price point that he's at $7K, I'm putting him out there. Beautiful matchup against Miami, where you just traded away one of your best defensive players, and two of your other best defensive players are currently not practicing, so that's something to tune into. So yeah, Josh Allen, the history against Miami, the numbers are fantastic. You go back and look at the game earlier this season, and I believe this was a showdown price, but 7,400. Now we're getting Josh Allen at the cheapest he's been all season on the road. With James Cook banged up, this is definitely one to watch out for with the James Cook injury news. I know a lot of people are looking at Ray Davis kind of as a substitute, but I'm looking at Josh Allen a lot if James Cook is out. That means I would expect Josh Allen to kind of run a little more, pass a little more. Obviously, that still doesn't mean that if James Cook is playing that they're not going to use James Cook. They're not going to use Ray Davis. They're not going to be successful running the ball, because they are. It's just I would like to, attack that Josh Allen pass game type of scenario, especially in the red zone. It's pretty much either Josh Allen or James Cook. So definitely love that one there. Another one that I want to look at, I think Lamar is close in the cash. And it's just the potential back and forth that we have between Baltimore and Minnesota. This one is tricky for me, and I'll just go over it really quick, because Baltimore's defense has been playing really, really good lately, especially against the quarterback. I know a lot of people in cash are looking at J.J. McCarthy for his price point, and he's down here at 4,900, and rightfully so. I mean, 23.2, 19.9. But we go back and look at Lamar and look at his numbers, and besides the injury game, he's put up 25 plus DraftKings points a game. And you look, he played Buffalo, played Detroit, and then we see some easier games. And I won't even say easier against Cleveland, because their defense is good. For the most part, their defense is good, right? I won't say fully good, because the Patriots just dogged them. But the Browns, especially Myles Garrett, got a lot of sacks. Miami, bad team, kind of just disaster. But still, the outcome that we've seen Lamar Jackson, and yet again, it seems like DraftKings wanted us to kind of be more balanced at quarterback this week. We get Josh Allen cheap, Lamar Jackson cheap, the 6K quarterbacks. Like the GPP video, watch that tomorrow. Obviously, injuries are going to play a lot. But this 6K range, I love. I just don't want to talk about any of them in cash. So Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson is on that edge between cash and GPP. But I'm going to go a little cheaper. I will talk about Jackson Dart as well. The Bears defense, we just saw Joe Flacco pass for over 400 yards, 4 touchdowns in that game. And now we get Jackson Dart, who, yet again, I mentioned, like, Jackson Dart's fantasy numbers have been amazing. Even if he hits 6K with what he's produced so far this season, it's definitely a like. I will say the one thing that is concerning about the Bears and Giants is the weather. Watch the weather. It's supposed to be a cold one. Obviously, it's going to be windy. We're in Chicago, getting towards the winter weather. It possibly might snow, so just keep an eye on it. I don't think it should play that much of a factor, but the weather definitely will change some things. But Jackson Dart is in my cash player pool. And then we're going to go down to J.J. McCarthy at 4,900. And that's just because he's dirt cheap for some reason. Like, I don't know. Like, this is why I think DraftKings just wanted us to be different, because price per dollar, like, if you want to pay up for some of the other positions that we'll talk about here soon, it makes sense to play J.J. McCarthy at 4,900. Like, he's got a rushing touchdown in the 2 games he's played fully. He's not looked the greatest passing, but the rushing touchdowns have definitely boosted him. But even that, it's just the price point and what you're able to do of paying that for J.J. McCarthy. So moving on to running backs, CMC yet again in cash. We saw what he did earlier this season against the Rams, 27.9 in that showdown. The rushing hasn't been the greatest for CMC, but he's gotten volume. He's one of the top running backs as far as a volume perspective. They're at home this time. It's on a Sunday. We'll see what it looks like. Obviously, if you want to go up for McCaffrey, go for it. I do really like Devon Achane at 7,400 this week at home against the Bills. Bills have been bad against a running back. That's just notorious, something that's going to continue to happen. Devon Achane has had one of the safest floors for a starting running back this season, right? 12.8 against Cleveland. But we've seen a pretty consistent number for Achane around that 16-point mark. And then we've seen a couple games where he plays really good. But when you consider his price point at 7,400 and what he's done this season, there's only been 2 games where it has truly benefited you. And that's in a New England-Miami game where he got 26. And then the Chargers-Miami game where he got 34. The 20.1 against Atlanta at 73 still doesn't really help you. I mean, 20 is good, but at the price point, it's not ideal. But with everything with Miami, you still figure Devon Achane is going to be a vocal point in that offense. Huge volume machine. We're going to go to the 6K range, and we're going to talk about Quinshon Judkins. Again, I love Quinshon Judkins. Look at the game against New England, a good run defense. Pittsburgh, also a good run defense. We get a Jets team that is slowly becoming really bad against the run. And let's not forget, they just traded away their best defensive lineman, an interior run stopper at that. And now we're getting an ugly matchup between the Browns and the Jets. So, yes, I really love Quinshon Judkins in this one. I think the touchdown upside is there for him. The volume is going to be there for him. The injury was, I don't want to say gone, but thankfully, because we had the bye week, it definitely helped Judkins going into this game. So it's 6,500. I love Quinshon Judkins in this matchup. And then Rico Dowdle. Rico Dowdle again. I mean, it's really hard to not look at Rico Dowdle in this matchup and just not play him, right? The 3 games where we've seen him get the huge workload, 20 plus rushing attempts, 206, 183, and 130 in games where he got 20 plus carries. This seems like a really, really healthy game for Rico Dowdle against the Saints. A lot of people like Carolina's defense, so if you like Carolina's defense, I would imagine you love Rico Dowdle then as well, because you're hoping Tyler Shuck and that Saints offense that just traded away Shaheed is going to be down one less guy. They're already one of the bottom offenses. They have games where they fight. But, Rico Dowdle at 6,300 at home against the Saints, as long as he's good to go, which I imagine he will be, is in a really, really healthy smash spot. I will mention, I don't love the price, but I will mention DeAndre Swift at 6,100 at home against the Giants. Seen the Giants defense kind of get beat lately. DeAndre Swift is another guy outside of Devon Achane that's been pretty damn consistent so far. We saw the work that Kyle Monangai just did. I would imagine, you see the same thing that we saw in Detroit with Ben Johnson, is Kyle Monangai and DeAndre Swift getting a good-sized workload. If you combine them, like, the running back number is amazing. Obviously, going forward, DeAndre Swift fits in to that Jahmyr Gibbs role. Kyle Monangai fits into that David Montgomery role. So we're going to see games where Kyle Monangai probably outproduces DeAndre Swift and vice versa. And I'm not trying to compare Swift to Gibbs, by the way. I'm just saying the role, that is the role of them. Travion Henderson is a name to watch out for again at 5,600. Ramondre has not practiced. This is being recorded Friday before all the practices. So if something comes out later, I apologize. We had the same thing happen last week. I tweeted about it as soon as the news broke. So if you guys are looking for the injury news, I try to do a pretty damn good job of tweeting out DraftKings information for the injury. So check that one out. But other than that, the only other name I want to mention is David Montgomery, 5K on the road against Washington. Obviously, we haven't seen the same David Montgomery we're kind of used to in Detroit, but the volume has been pretty damn consistent as well for Montgomery. It's just the efficiency has not been there. Washington obviously dealing with the offensive injuries to Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin. I think it's a really, really good get-back spot for Detroit, facing the team that knocked them out of the playoffs last season. That huge shootout, it was amazing. It was a really good game. But I do want to highlight David Montgomery at 5K. I think he definitely has the potential for 20-plus DraftKings points in this one. 5K, he's a really, really good value. So other than that, unless an injury pops up, no one else is kind of being looked at. Like I said, we'll mention him. Ray Davis at 4,500. If James Cook is out, I think is pretty safe to say is a mega cash lock at 4,500. Obviously, James Cook has to miss, but if he does, 4,500, Ray Davis. So, moving on to wide receiver, Puka, Jackson Smith, Amon-Ra St. Brown. All three of these guys should be in your cash pool, right? Like deciding who you're going to play. I will say Amon-Ra in an amazing smash spot against Washington. We've kind of seen it slow down a little bit with Amon-Ra, although the targets have been there, right? 13, 10, and 10. It's just the yardage and the touchdowns have kind of slowed down the last 3 games, but it's a really good spot for Amon-Ra to kind of go to one of those 25 plus point games. Puka against the 49ers. He did practice fully yesterday, so Thursday. We'll yet again watch Friday, see what they do with him. But I like Puka in this one. Saw the game against San Fran earlier. 10 for 85 and a touchdown. Got to remember the 49ers defense is so much more banged up than or now than they were then. So really love Puka then. JSN. Here's something to watch out for JSN, right? JSN is in an amazing spot, playing against a division opponent in Arizona. We saw what he did in week 4 against Arizona. Wasn't really good, right? The worst game he's had of the season. And you're like, well, what's different this time, right? One, the wide receiver room is very, very banged up in Seattle. I mean, very banged up. It's a good thing they got Shaheed because Torrey Horton hadn't practiced, Bobo hadn't practiced, and I think White was the other one that hadn't practiced. And on the Arizona side, 2 of their top 3 corners have not practiced either, so that's a huge plus for someone like JSN. So at 8,600, like these 3 guys, it's pretty much flipping a triple coin, I guess, of saying, hey, do I really want to target Amon-Ra in a very healthy, very high team implied total against a defense that gives up a lot of yards to wide receivers? You got to remember, too, Marshawn Lattimore is out for Washington as well. I believe they had a linebacker that got suspended for a game, so he's going to miss. Not only is Jaden Daniels, I would say pretty much done. Terry McLaurin, Luke McCaffrey, sorry. There's a lot of injuries on Washington's team to like. Same thing, Puka, a lot of injuries on the San Francisco 49ers defense to really like for Puka. Now, if you're like, who do I go cheaper? Who do I look for? I don't have the funds. I want to play CMC or I want to pay up for HN and another running back, whatever. I recommend paying up for at least somebody in the 8,000 plus range. But Emeka Egbuka against the Patriots at 7K. We've seen Emeka Egbuka very, very, very much calm down in the last 3 weeks. It's been pretty uninspiring from what we saw earlier in the season. Maybe it's teams just getting used to Emeka Egbuka as a superstar or what it is. But he's got a good matchup against the Patriots. Like I said earlier, a lot of people were targeting the Patriots secondary, and I said as soon as Christian Gonzalez comes back, that's going to be a different story. But in this matchup where you get a New England team with Drake May that's been super efficient, you get what can be a very pass-friendly team in Tampa Bay, where we've seen Baker Mayfield battle even when it seems like they're out. Fourth quarter comes, Baker Mayfield's a different breed for a quarterback. So at 7K, Emeka Egbuka is definitely on my radar in that one. Zay Flowers, I think he's a really good stack option with Lamar in this matchup. If you want to go, JJ McCarthy, if you want to target, Justin Jefferson or Jordan Addison and then add a cheap Zay Flowers, definitely fine with that. Definitely cool with getting that one in. Going cheaper, though, to the 5K range, Wan'Dale Robinson yet again is on the list. No Kyler Gordon for the Bears, so Wan'Dale is going to see, I believe, C.J. Gardner-Johnson is filling in for the slot. Tougher matchup. Wan'Dale's got the targets. 2 out of his last 3 games have been 10+. Had a really good matchup last week. It's just waiting to see kind of the yardage get there for Wan'Dale. Obviously, the targets and receptions are there. That's kind of what we've been used to for Wan'Dale in Daboll's system. It's just very small passes. And occasionally we're going to see a game where he gets, 60, 70 plus yards and really pays off for getting, 6 or 7 receptions. So just kind of waiting on that. But it's a really good matchup against the Bears. Very banged up defense there. If you want to run back Marv, if you're targeting Sam Darnold, like I said, I didn't talk about Sam Darnold in the cash. I'm definitely talking about him tomorrow in the GPPs. And, it might switch for Darnold, right, with the injuries to Arizona's corners. We'll see the practice report today. But Marvin Harrison with Jacoby Brissett as his quarterback. It's a tough matchup for him. It really is. I don't want to try to over-talk Marvin Harrison Jr., so I'm just going to keep it short and brief. But it was a relief for Marvin Harrison. Granted, it had to be Dallas for this to happen. And now you get a Seattle secondary, so it's not as ideal. But Khalil Shakir at 5,100 against Miami. Like I said, Rasul Douglas has not practiced, so if he's out, that's a huge plus for someone like Shakir in this one, especially with James Cook being banged up. I really do like Shakir at his price point at 5,100. Continue to go down. The only other player that I'll say 2 names. There are 2 names. Juwan Jennings against the Rams at 4,600. I think he's worth targeting in this one. Paid off last week. Sees a small bump, goes back to 4,600. Did not play in the game against the Rams earlier this season, but he's had a couple good games for San Fran. I just think he's worth mentioning. It's kind of a cheaper piece. Darius Slayton as well at 4,300. If you want a cheaper wide receiver, it's very risky, which in cash you don't want to be risky. So we'll mention that, and then I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna hate saying it, but Jerry Jeudy at 3,900. The Jets traded away 2 of their cornerbacks. Fannin missed practice yesterday. Don't know what's going on with that. But Jerry Jeudy at 3,900. We know what Jerry Jeudy could be. I have to mention him. I do. I think for the price that he's at, I don't think it's out of the scenarios for Jerry Jeudy to get 10 plus points against the Jets, who traded away 2 corners and counting one of those corners as sauce with their best defensive lineman. They benched a starting linebacker who I don't know what's going on there, but I will mention Jerry Jeudy. The numbers have been down with Dylan Gabriel as his quarterback. Kind of look at what they faced, and it hasn't been the prettiest lately. Game against Detroit, their secondary, they have a good secondary, right? If they're healthy, it's a good secondary. A Minnesota defense that could be ruthless. A Pittsburgh defense that's the highest paid defense in the league that needed to start performing. A Miami defense that was just so bad against the run. Teams didn't pass against them. That's where we saw Judkins have a really good game. And then New England's secondary, who has been one of the better secondaries in football the last month. You get a Jets defense that has played wide receivers good, but they just traded 2 of their corners. So I have to talk about Jerry Jeudy at 3,900 for value. I'm sorry. I don't love it. I'll probably regret it come Sunday when the game is over and Jerry Jeudy has 5 points, but I have to talk about it. I'm sorry. Going on to tight ends, Trey McBride at 6K. He has just seen so much good volume with Jacoby Brissett as his quarterback. 4 touchdowns. 4 in 3 games with Jacoby. Oh man, football stresses me out when we know how good Trey McBride is. We have a quarterback getting paid so much money, and he can't produce to Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. But you know who can? Journeyman Jacoby Brissett. It's crazy. So Trey McBride, yes. George Kittle, yes. Sam Laporta, yes. Dalton Kincaid, yes. 4 players right off the bat. And then going cheaper, Hunter Henry's worth mentioning against Tampa Bay. They're kind of dealing with some interior injuries there. I do want to mention one name. I'll mention one name. I'll keep it nice and sweet for you guys. If Fannin is out, David Njoku is 3,200 against the Jets, who, like I said, they've traded 3 defensive players away and benched a starting linebacker. So I will mention David Njoku if Fannin Jr.'s out. That is it. That is it. I will mention a few more names that I do like in tomorrow's GPP video, so check that one out. And then defenses. I will say I can't justify the Panthers at 3,500 against New Orleans. I can't justify it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. The Lions at Washington, 3,400. The Browns, 2,900 against the Jets. And for a cheap defense, let's say Jacksonville at 2,600 on the road against Houston. It's a division game. We saw week 3 what happened. 12 points there when they were on that big kind of turnover thing. Obviously, Travis Hunter's out. Jordan Lewis hasn't practiced, so that could be a blow too, but it's going to be Davis Mills in a very bad run game. That Houston run game's just been very, very bad. So let's do an example. I'll start it off. I'll go defense, and I'll go Browns. We'll start it off there. Let's get interesting. Let's say Fannin's out. So let's throw David Njoku in there. Let's build off Josh Allen. Okay, cool. Running back. I'm going to put Judkins in there, and I'll put Rico Dowdle in there. Wide receiver. Who is needed the most? Let's go with Puka. 51, which isn't bad because it allows us to get someone like Khalil Shakir in here. Let's see something and see what comes out of it. So I can't go HN. It doesn't allow me the money. I could go double tight end, so let's throw Trey in there. And we're left with 4,300. So we could go like a Darius Slayton on the road against Chicago. For that. We could. Yeah, let's just do that. Let's do Darius Slayton. The other thing I was thinking of is going off of the Browns, going to Jacksonville, and then putting. So let's do that instead of just talking about it. Let's switch off Slayton, and we'll go to Juwan Jennings. So perfect. That covers it. $0. I get a stud quarterback. I get 2 mid-tier running backs. I obviously am then paying up for someone like Puka. I get a stack in Shakir with Josh Allen. Get a kind of run back piece for the Rams game. Double stack Cleveland. I mean, we could obviously move away from there, but David Njoku, and then Trey McBride, another top tight end in that matchup against Seattle in Jacksonville's defense. So one of the things we could do, right? We could go different at tight end. And we could say, like, I could double stack and put Kincaid in there. Let's go Laporta and see what that does. 4,800, which I don't think it really doesn't leave us much. So like we'd have to pay down even more. So like, let's throw in Hunter Henry for the sake of it. 57. ETN, McMillan, Monungai, Samuel. No. Not a lot there. Yeah, there's not a lot there. So what if we go back to Njoku and then we get 6K and let's switch it out and go Zay. I like the McBride one, I think, a little better, but we'll just switch it and go Zay and see how that one looks. So, yet again, just an example. Obviously, watch the injury news today, watch the practice reports, and see what comes from today to Sunday. We might get some value plays out there, so definitely check that out. Hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.